It says the Mike and Pat Show, but I think it changes all the time. Today we have Donna Barkho from our office on. We're going to get into a lot of cool stuff. Some stuff maybe I don't even know how she feels about it, but she's an associate attorney at our office. She's been working with us, what now, 6 months? I feel like it's been a year.
Going on to a year, something like that.
Yeah. It's going fast with all these changes, right? I mean, she started in a time where things were normal. Now it's not so normal. And she's done an incredible job of just being flexible and sticking around with us.
Going with the flow.
Time has no meaning today. So, you know, who knows?
Couple things before we get going. Reminders, 50% off. The governor just extended the, so this is good news for everyone. The governor, well, at least on the estate planning side, the governor just extended the stay-at-home order through the end of the month. Mm-hmm. And what that means is our 50% off estate planning services will continue. So good news there, maybe bad news that we're all sticking around home. Also, it continues our free financial and healthcare powers of attorney for all frontline responders. So you know anyone who's out there in the trenches helping people, get them our way. We'll hook them up when it's available for them because we know that they're crazy busy. Last thing I need to mention is if you like the information that we're providing, like our Facebook page, or maybe you don't like it and you just like it's entertaining. Like our Facebook page, share it with others. All right.
Should they smash that like button, Mike?
Yeah.
I think that's what the kids are saying.
I'm turning it over to you.
All right. So thank you for tossing me that hot potato. So yeah, Donna, you know, Mike and I have each been at this for a while now. And by this, I mean lawyering and doing that kind of stuff. You know, when you came on, we kind of had like, hey, here's the system, here's how things are going to go. And then lately, we're just kind of, we have to be really innovative. You know, we have to adapt to the changing climate. And you've just been fantastic for that. You know, when things come, just kind of pitching in and adapting to it. What are the things that you have seen as, you know, kind of rewarding or interesting or challenging, you know, throughout this whole situation? I don't think they teach you about this.
I'm going to take it back farther than that. We'll get to that for sure. Let's talk about when you were sitting in law school 2 years ago, and you're like, "This is what my legal career looks like." Like, so tell me what you thought was going to happen, because they don't teach this stuff in law school.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
So, pre-taking the bar, pre-becoming an attorney, I thought being an attorney meant, you know, sitting at your computer all day, drafting pleadings, being in court, you know, just billable hours, billable hours everywhere. It's not. Well, it was, I should say. So after I passed the bar, I was working at a general practice law firm. We were doing tons of family law, criminal defense, personal injury, car accidents, and that's exactly what I was doing. I was in front of a computer all day, drafting pleadings, stressed out like crazy about billable hours. And I really quickly realized I don't want to do this. Like, this is not where I see the end. Like, I don't want to be doing this forever.
Sure.
So kind of took a hiatus from that. And to be quite honest, the thoughts of did I make the right decision of going into law school kept popping up in my head. Like, I don't know. I don't know where to take this. So that's when a family member of mine, Tammy, who you guys both know, mentioned estate planning to me. So shot in the dark, I reached out to you, Mike, and here I am. And what we're doing now, or what I'm doing now actually, is a lot different from what it was in the beginning. You know, meeting with families, meeting the full family. So it's not just like client, get your hours in, they're done. Next case, client, get your hours done. It's a process. We're with the families, you know, throughout maybe forever for them. And it's so much more fulfilling than just sitting at a computer all day. I didn't expect it to be us out in the community as much as we are. You know, just educating, doing our workshops, doing all the little events that we do. It's just so much more rewarding than I thought being an attorney would be. So.
And of course, the last 6 weeks have kind of gone back to that whole sitting in front of a computer most days, every day. but I think a little bit different when you're sitting on Zoom meetings with folks, still meeting them face to face, as it were, as opposed to sitting in front of kind of word processing software all day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'll jump in on that a little bit. I feel like it's almost more rewarding because so many people are just grateful that we can still do things, because this has really brought so much estate planning to the front of people's minds, where every family we work with has just been incredibly grateful of, one, how easy the process is. Two, we're helping them sleep better at night when there's all these other stresses in their life, right? Financially, relationships, having to maybe teach their kids school. They're now a teacher and a full-time worker and all these other things. So there's so many other stresses that I've just felt an overwhelming sense of relief from all the families. I don't know if you guys have experienced that.
For sure.
Oh, absolutely. And one of the craziest things has been, rather than restricting what we can do, this has really expanded what we can do. 8 minutes ago, I was on a Zoom meeting with folks in the Upper Peninsula, and yesterday I had a Zoom call that had a mother and a daughter, and the mom was outside of Traverse City, and the daughter's over in Wyoming. I mean, not Wyoming, Michigan, Wyoming State. But we're able to meet with families now, and in a way that we couldn't before. And this is stuff that they wanted to do, but there's no one in those smaller markets who's necessarily doing it. And then we can be there, which I think that's just incredible, to not be limited by geography anymore. I mean, they still have to be Michigan or Illinois, but beyond that, yeah.
It's not just the geography of it, it's the time too. I don't know about you guys, but I've been offering just late evenings. I've been meeting with families at 8 p.m., 7 p.m. After the kids go to bed. It's like now they have a chance to focus on what they need to focus on. Whereas before that wasn't an option really for them.
Yeah, I can definitely speak to that. Being a young family, some things in our life are incredibly important, but the stars have to align, right? For us to have a babysitter, for both my wife and I to not be working. And it allows time to do these important things. Plus, what's really an awesome thing that I have found is just involving the family in the planning, right? Pat was just talking about another person in another state. Well, a lot of times it's very helpful to have all the family members in part of the planning if that's what the family likes to do. Well, we can have them Zoom in from Wyoming, from Montana, from Colorado, wherever the case may be. They can be part of it, and people really enjoy that. So that's been great, for sure.
And I think that's amazing, Donna. I had no idea you were taking 8 p.m. meetings. But
they say they have kids, and they're like, "Well, I can't do it at this time." And I'm like, you know what? Put the kids to bed, have dinner. I'm not going anywhere. I'm not going anywhere.
Yeah, I agree. For better or for worse, now all my stuff is right here in my house. So I might walk by and I might sneak in for respond to some emails. So it does make more availability, but also flexibility and schedule too. I mean, it's something I would at least hope you guys feel is that our firm is very much about a family work-life balance. And this kind of just adds to that, right? If in the future we're able to do meetings this way, and you got your kids' activity at 3:30, you go do that, and then you got time later to do some things that maybe you needed to wrap up. I think there's nothing but good things that's going to come out of all of this.
For sure.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with that. I mean, when we're doing evening meetings, or when we used to do evening meetings in the office, and you're meeting with someone starting at 6 or 7, you're getting out of the office at 8 or 9. It's dark out. They don't want to be at your office and still have to drive home. And you probably don't. I know I don't fancy being in the office at 9 p.m. on a Tuesday. That's not fun. But if you can go home, go for a run, make dinner, spend the time that you need to spend, and then have those meetings with people and be available to them, that's just fantastic. So I think that's really going to be a part of our practice going forward as well, especially for people who are working.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think we necessarily gave Donna a proper introduction, just so everyone can get to know Donna a little bit better. So Donna is our lead attorney out at the Macomb office, which is located at Hall Road and Shaner there. over by the old Lakeside Mall for all those who know Lakeside. And so she's been running that office now for about 6 months, with great feedback from all the families that she's been working with and developing relationships in the area to just be out in the community and serving the community. So it's been a pleasure having you, and nothing but good things.
Oh, it's been awesome. I don't see myself doing anything else after this.
It's a very similar story that I tell so often. I mean, I was originally in workers' comp insurance defense and transitioned over to estate planning. And it was the first estate planning client I ever had. It was just a young family, one of my friends that had a kid. And just the process blew me away of like, when you're done, like they want to hug you. And I'm like, whoa, what is happening? You know? And just from there forward, it's just like, I need to do this the rest of my life. I need to help people.
I've had families cry in front of me, laugh in front of me, give me hugs. Like, you build a relationship with them. It's not just the business. It's I don't know how to explain it. There's no words to explain it. It's just awesome. I wouldn't want to go back to regular general practice ever again.
Yeah, and certainly not the divorce car accident side of things.
Not that there's anything wrong with that.
No.
It's just not my character, I should say.
To each his own. I mean, I know some attorneys that just love being in the courtroom, and that's because it's challenging and all those things. So, to each their own. But that's why it takes a unique individual to be a part of what we do. And it's just so great to help families. I love it. It's a great feeling.
For sure. And I like that this conversation has kind of turned towards some of those younger families, young professionals, folks who are working that kind of thing. Because when it comes to, elder planning and estate law and that kind of thing, a lot of people think that that's grandparent law, and that's, only for when folks are quite a bit older, when maybe, they might pass soon, or when those are the considerations. But a lot of this stuff starts earlier on in life. And those are conversations I've been having with friends and with other professionals that focused on, like, well, who are we? Who needs what type of work? I know we have a package that we do for college kids, folks who are going off to college, even something as simple as powers of attorney, or you're a young family and now you've got kids, who's the guardian going to be, or your young family, you've got kids, but you also have, your IRA, your 401k, your life insurance, but how do you plan for those things if, God forbid, something were to happen? Because it's not just for older folks. It's not just for after you've retired. I mean, that's where I think it becomes more acute, and people start to look around at their peers and say, okay, I really need to get something done now. But that doesn't mean that it's unimportant for younger folks. One of the things I wind up telling clients a lot, the families that we work with, my mom made me sign power of attorney when I was 18, because I was going off to college and she's an attorney. And she was like, you know what, sign this, because if something happens to you, the hospital can't talk to me. If you're stuck overseas or something, I can't help out the way that I could from a financial point of view. And that actually happened to me. When I was 19 or 20 at the time. I was living over in Ireland, studying over there, and my student loan, or the deposit, didn't go through correctly. And so I didn't have money, which was not great. Because it was a glitch that was only maybe going to last for a few days or whatever. But during that time I was stuck. But she was able to go into the bank and she was able to say, yeah, I can access his account, use the document, and I can manage this. And that would have been really not good. And I laughed at her when she made me sign the thing, because what 18-year-old wouldn't? But turns out it was a good idea. So it's just, life happens in ways that you don't expect. And young people and young families tend to think that they're invincible. Maybe not so much,
A big point on that is college students.
Yeah.
So I would say in January is when I started seeing a lot of families asking about powers of attorney for their college students. They just graduated, they're going away, and they want to make sure that they can kind of help control things for the kids. Because at age 18, how, I guess, financially savvy and how you don't think about these things.
Mm-hmm.
At 18, I wasn't thinking about the possibility of what if I can't do this for myself, or what if I end up in the hospital, or anything. I mean, there's so many variables that can play out that powers of attorney can control so much. I always tell everyone, powers of attorney are such simple documents, but they're so powerful in what they do. So with parents,
I would totally agree with that on that, Donna. I feel like a lot of times there's so much focus on what happens to my stuff if I pass away, right? That seems to be like, I need a will because if I pass away, who's going to get my stuff? But in reality, the powers of attorney kind of get glanced over, but truly it's a much more meaningful, powerful document than a document that says who gets your stuff when it's all over. Right. And I just think that sometimes that gets overlooked, and it's such a, it's such a hassle the other way. If someone doesn't have that document, if something happens where like unexpected, like a car accident or just the aging process where now you can't make decisions for yourself, the hassles of the guardianship and the court oversight and the cost. I mean, all of that can be solved or just avoided with our attorney document.
Yeah, I mean, because the question is, do you want to have your loved ones have to go convince a judge to give you access or control to things, go through that whole process? And people, I do have to say on this, people think an emergency guardianship is like something out of a John Grisham movie, novel turned movie, where like we race over to the judge's house at midnight and wake him up and have him sign a document. That is not how that works. An emergency guardianship is a weeks-long process. And that's very frustrating to people, where they say, but dad's not competent now. We need to get this in place. And it's like, look, unless there is an immediate, extremely high level of need that this be done now, you're talking weeks for an emergency guardianship, let alone the weeks to months for a standard guardianship and conservatorship. Or in many cases, pull out the power of attorney and there you go. So it's so much simpler to do that in terms of cost and effort and headache and just the nonsense that can go along.
Yeah. Plus the future, hearings that have to be had every single year to, the court oversight with everything, it just can be so much easier. You get to pick who is your financial medical power of attorney instead of the judge picking for you because the statute says so, because that might not be the order in which you want it to happen. So for sure.
And I just have to circle back to what you were saying, Donna, on the college kids. A very dear friend of mine is a college administrator, and not a day goes by where she doesn't have to deal with parents who are asking what's going on with their kid, or they haven't heard from them and what's going on. And in some cases, it's because your kid is 22 years old and you have to let go at a certain point. But in other cases, she would want to be able to talk to him, but you simply cannot without that power of attorney, without a HIPAA waiver so that you can make disclosures. Without that, it doesn't matter, unfortunately, that you're their parent. The school cannot talk to you. So to have someone kind of go out into the world, and that can be really hard for a parent to let go completely. But okay, you do have to let go a little bit. They have to leave the nest eventually. But you can do it with some of these precautions in place, some of these documents in place that say, okay, if things were to go off the rails, or if there were a real concern, you could find out what was going on. Because otherwise, if you call the hospital and say, is my kid there? They won't tell you. They can't tell you. So I just think it gets overlooked so much because we expect, that's not going to happen to me. Probably not. But it could. You're probably not going to get in a car accident, but that doesn't mean you don't put on your seatbelt. Right. It's that kind of thing. Just because the odds are like this doesn't mean you don't want to take those little precautions that make a huge difference should things go that way.
For sure.
We need to switch back. We got on a tangent talking about estate planning. I knew we were going to. Let's talk about Donna. Donna, I want to hear from you. Give us a little bit about your background, and then what point in time in your life did you decide to go to law school, and where did that all come from? Are any of your family members lawyers, or did you out of a hat? How does this work?
I initially went to college. I wanted to be a dentist.
Where'd you go to college?
Wayne State University.
Awesome.
So I thought for sure I wanted to be a dentist. I started taking the science classes, the math classes, and found out math wasn't my strong suit. So I switched gears a lot in college. You know, it went from I want to be a dentist to I want to be an engineer. Took one physics class, never looked back. Physics is not my strong suit either. My sister's actually an attorney, so she knew she wanted to be an attorney from day one since she was a kid. So I ended up taking a criminal justice class with her at Wayne State and thought it was the coolest thing. Fell in love with it, and I just kind of followed in her footsteps. Then went to law school. I think it was the year of graduating, maybe my junior or senior year at Wayne State, when I figured, let me switch gears and apply to law school. So.
Where does your sister practice now, or does she?
Yep, she does a little bit of personal injury. She's over on the west side in Farmington Hills.
Gotcha. Well, like every time you talk to her, you're like, my job's so awesome. Like
so much better than yours. No, she loves what she does. I mean, it's her. Like we said, she likes the court. She likes the work. That's
awesome. Awesome. Yeah. And so, where'd you go to law school?
I'm sorry.
Where'd you go to law school?
I went to Cooley Law School in Auburn Hills.
Okay.
Which many people probably know it now as Western Michigan.
Right.
Cooley Law School. But yeah.
I gotta say, I love that for you, Farmington Hills is the west side. You know, I grew up in Grand Rapids. I mean,
I thought you was gonna be like West Side, like Grand Rapids.
I know.
Farmington Hills. So
for us, it's the west side.
Right.
I-75, anything over is West Side.
Yep.
Right.
That's so funny. Okay, so you went to the Auburn Hills campus, which is that now closed, or now they consolidate down to Lansing?
Last I heard, I think they do want to consolidate it. I think this is the last year that it might be open. Starting next year, I think they might transition students over to the Lansing campus.
And then did you do an internship anywhere, or what does your legal career look like?
Yeah, I was interning / clerking for the same law firm that I started practicing at.
Gotcha.
It was great before I became an attorney. So once I transitioned over and started doing the work, that's when I realized I don't want to do this. And not because it's bad, like we said, just because it wasn't in my character. I'm such a empathetic person, so I feel like I want to connect with families on a deeper level than just filling out their paperwork and sending them on their way.
Yeah. On that note, talk to me about the difference you feel with Zoom type meetings, because I know we're doing all day long Zoom meetings versus in person. Have you been able to still make that connection through Zoom, or talk to me about how that transition's been for you?
I have, actually, thinking about it. It's not something I've thought about, I guess, prior to this, but it's a little different when you're in person. I think you always build a better connection in person.
Yeah.
Just being able to, jump on a Zoom video, kind of like we're on right now, and meet with them, whether it be multiple times a week or, before it was when they need something, they would email or call you. But now it's like you can just jump on a Zoom call and see them and talk with them in person, as opposed to just doing it through phone or email.
So you think you can still kind of build rapport with people, this way? It's to my mind very different than a phone call, where you just it's some disembodied voice on the other end of the phone. While it's not the same, you don't get the handshake. You're probably getting a lot less hugs than you used to. But it's still, just so much further than just some kind of anonymous voice out there.
Yeah, you see them in their element. I mean, you're seeing them in their home. Their kids will walk by, they'll say hi. I mean, it's something you wouldn't see in the office for sure.
Yeah, I think I would totally agree with you on that. Is that, yes, the in-office meeting with a person, human in the same room, nothing beats that. But I do think the experience is better this way, from the full range of the process, because when you have a question about something, you just jump on and you get to see their face. You get to look into their eyes. It's great. Instead of before, we would have the meetings, but if you had a couple follow-up questions, you would just do that by the phone. So I think just overall the process, it's incredible, and I think it's about the same going forward. It's going to be great to do in-person meetings and Zoom meetings. I think it's just going to take it to a whole nother level, which is awesome. Love it.
Have there been any kind of particular, either situations or families you've met with or anything over these last, say, 6 weeks or so that we've been developing the new process that either stood out to you or that you're like, hey, this was a really remarkable experience or interaction?
Not so much anything that out of the ordinary. What I think is cool is that I've been able to meet with families that I probably would never have met before. For instance, I have a family out in Grand Rapids. I never would have met with them if it weren't for the virtual meetings.
Right.
So it is kind of cool that we can meet anyone, anywhere. So for me, that's kind of cool.
I think that's fantastic because we just opened Kalamazoo right in the middle of a pandemic. That was a really good time on that one. Really planned that one out great. But we've been planning to move more towards West Michigan. We already had folks who would come to us. We were doing work for folks in Lansing and St. Joe, but it was not. It was a little more inconsistent, and it was but now, there's no reason meeting with someone in Manistee is the same as meeting with someone in Bloomfield Hills. It's the same process, which I think that's just fantastic.
Just for the record, it's May 8th. Just so we're watching this in the future, and it is just snowing outside like a blizzard. I'm just saying. I just want to throw that out there.
Are you serious?
Yes.
A little bit of sun where I am, but there's snow in the mix.
The west side is a little brisk, but there is not a flake in the sky. So I'm waiting for that to come mess me up later. Awesome.
But to that point, we can meet with people in Florida. We can be super jealous about their, and that's truly a great thing. Here in Michigan, we experience a lot of families who travel between Michigan and Florida, Michigan and Arizona. And to be able, in the past, we might do some planning in the fall. They'll go away for the winter. Lucky them. They come back and we continue doing any planning we were doing. Now we can just continue to, it opens a door to a whole new process of planning, which I think is great. It allows people to continue to do things.
Absolutely. As soon as you said that, I was going to say, we have so many families where they're snowbirds and they'll do their planning here because they can set up their planning in Michigan and either vacation or move full time to Florida or to Arizona, the Carolinas. The planning will still work. But sometimes they feel there's not that connection, but with this we can maintain, which is
Yeah, I think this definitely it's gonna change the way a lot of people do business, not just us in our field, but companies all over. I think a lot of people are gonna want to work virtually, whether it be for the sake of families to sit home with your family or just because it's a lot easier for the reasons that we just talked about today.
For sure.
It's the future.
And as we're kind of coming to a close here, I just want to ask you, Donna, what have you been doing for the last 2 months, non-business wise, non-work wise, to keep yourself sane? What have you been doing to make sure that you're taking care of your mental health and well-being and all that? Because that's a challenge for all of us.
Start off by saying I miss the gym. Can't wait to open up again. But luckily, it's not horrible outside. We've had some nice days, so I've definitely been spending some time outside, whether it be walking or just sitting out on the patio. I have this piano beside me, which I try to jump on and practice every now and then. But just honestly, it's been weird, I guess. It's a good word to put it, just being stuck home. But it's nice to have that family time. We're bonding more than we ever have with our families, whereas before, it's like, I come home, okay, see ya, I'm going out. But now it's like, let's spend time together. Let's watch TV together or let's have dinner together. So it's so much nicer. So I definitely.
And Donna, you draw too. I think I've seen some of your social media stuff where you draw. That's great. She's awesome.
Oh, really?
I have some stuff on my Facebook. So it's been a while since I've done that, but it's so nice. That's like a great escape. It's just you get focused in on the drawing and then 3 hours later you're like, oh. What am I doing?
As someone without an artistic bone in their body, that's always amazing to me. People who can just create like that. That's just so incredible.
For sure.
How about you guys? What's your
I went nuts about 6 weeks ago and I'm just embracing it.
Yeah, I have 3 kids at home, so it's been great. I mean, we've spent. I think this is going to be a period of all of our lives that we'll look back on and be like, I wish that would happen again. I think we're all fortunate that we are in a profession that is at least still in need, so that's been nice. But yeah, I think it's been great family time. I mean, my life is usually occupied by. I need to get done with the meeting so I can get home and take my daughter to soccer and do all these things. And right now it's like, when are we having family dinner? What do you guys want to do after dinner? Do we want to watch a movie, take the dogs for a walk? So like, it has been just amazing. Other than having to school kids, it has been absolutely amazing to just be with family. So we've been excited about it. It's totally fine that the stay-at-home order has extended. It's just more family time for a little bit.
Definitely. And I haven't actually gone insane. Been doing a lot more cooking and gardening and running and just trying to, do those things. You're both very blessed with the family connection, which I think is just fantastic.
Yeah.
But it's all good stuff.
It's a nice time to slow down. I feel like we're so go with life that this is such a great opportunity for all of us to stop for a minute and just take a break and enjoy it.
And reevaluate. I think reevaluate the things that mean so much to us. Reevaluate what we spend our money on. Like, it's been great to just like retool so many things. Like, take a breather on all these things and say, do we really want to do that? Do these align with our family values? And like, so many cool conversations like that we've had at the house that I think it's just a good time to like reflect and like hit the reset button sometimes.
Too right.
All right. We all got to roll. So Donna, thank you so much for being a guest of ours. It's been a pleasure having you. I can't believe it's going on a year already. Look forward to a lot of more exciting things, as who knows what the next chapter brings us all. Reminder to everyone about the 50% off and free powers of attorney to health frontline responders. Also, please like our Facebook page or whatever medium that you're catching this on, whether it's YouTube, LinkedIn, whatever. Like our page, you'll get alerts that we're on if you find us entertaining or the information valuable.
Very good.
All right, everyone, have a great weekend. We will catch you next Tuesday. We have Joe Angel on, CPA. He's going to be talking a lot about the PPP loans. He's going to be talking about a lot with what's going on with taxes. So definitely tune in this coming Tuesday at noon. And I'm excited to have him on.
Definitely.
That's a good one.
Yep.
Take care, guys.
Later.
All right, guys.